Carl and Liam here from Games, Brains and Head-Banging Life, gbhblofficial for sure, and it's getting Goosebumps. Oh my God, it is the penultimate episode of Getting Goosebumps, the penultimate episodes of the Goosebumps TV show. It's Cry the Cat, the 5th and 6th episodes of season 4 of the Goosebumps TV series, and the 75th and 76th episode overall. That is incredible. I don't know about you.
Yeah, it's really hard to believe that we've come to this point in the penultimate episode. That's mad. And what a couple of episodes to go out on, eh?
Yeah. Should be noted, actually, that's wrong. It's 71st and 72nd. I've written that wrong. 71st and 72nd. I did think, wait a minute, we skipped some there. No, just wrote it wrong in my notes. Yes, it is great to be here. This is based on the first Goosebumps series 2000 book of the same name, Cry the Cat. Published 1998, written and directed by Ron Oliver. And you know what you get with Ron Oliver? You always get a little bit of wacky, but what you also get is practical effects, and this one has quite a few.
It does it? This one has a good. Again, I mentioned before, a lot of these season 4 episodes have quite a high production value, and I think this continues that trend quite nicely.
Indeed it does. We will get to some quite fascinating stuff in an episode that I think it's up and down. Well, we'll get to some of that, I think. Hamil Rustia plays Alison Rogers, Corey Sevier as Ryan, Arthur Eng as Larry Graham, Padragian Murphy as Crystal, Kate Heading as Crystal's mom, and R.D. Reed as Dr. Mason. They are the major names. I hope you recognize some names, in particular one who we have to remember. Fastest hands in all Britannia. Corey Sevier plays Eddie in season 1's A Night in Terror Tower. As soon as I saw his face, I was like, you prick.
Yeah. I actually thought he's even better in this episode. Like, his acting has even improved. So credit to him for sure.
If it's not his angry at his agent behavior, it's his constantly freaked out by Alison's behavior. He is a lot of fun.
I really enjoyed his performance in this.
Similar to Night in Terror Tower, I think he's an actor who gets it. Gets what he needs to do in these. He knows there's a call to be serious, but it's just silly and cheesy, and I should play up to that. He gets
it.
Maybe
because this episode is quite a parody in many ways. Maybe like it's sort of like a real life parody type situation with the real actor, because he's only done 2 episodes in Goosebumps, and both of them have been ones that have huge productions. So maybe he's quite a diva himself, and he's like, I'm not coming back for the small time rubbish. I'll come back for the big productions, the ones that's got the budget and all that. Maybe there's something really in there, man. Because why has he only been in 2 episodes? There's got to be something there.
Good shout. Hamil Rustia plays Iris in season 2's Calling It All Creeps. While that episode is memorable, I don't remember the characters, unfortunately, so I didn't really place that one.
No, I read. I was watching the episode, and there was some comments below, and I read that exact piece of trivia, and yeah, I do remember her character, but compared to Night in Terror Tower, that's like trash, isn't it? So
yes indeed. So there's a lot of details about this. You already touched upon it, but the meta element is a major aspect of it. It was actually added in order to bring something to the story, and an amazing moment. I've got a quote from R.L. Stine and his wife Jane Stine about this. So the script was sent to them to check, and they said, "You're either completely insane, or this is the best episode of the entire series. We're not sure what it's going to be." So that was quite something.
That's the first time we've ever had any R.L. Stine like quote, or I just desperately want to know his opinion on so many of these episodes, so badly. So it's interesting. I wonder what he found of the ultimate execution of it then.
When we come to the finale of the show, not the episode, but the finale where we do the last tier list, the one that takes the top ranked episodes from all the previous seasons, and we do that final, that will be our wrap up of the entire show. By that point, I am planning to find, buy, and own the Goosebumps companion piece with the quotes and the details. And I'm going to go through that, and I'm going to pick out, and I'm going to find stuff, particularly about the episodes that we wish the highest ones were rating, particularly when we narrow it down to what we consider the best episode overall. Like, that's the details I want. So, because that's out there, and that's, having found quotes from it in the past, I'm like, probably need to get hold of that.
Yeah, that sounds cool. I'd love to hear some of the little quotations and stuff from it. That'd be cool.
Absolutely. This meta stuff as well means you get, like, in the opening scene is a parody of the film The Exorcist. Do you know that film that all kids have seen naturally, The Exorcist? They parody that.
That's a kid's classic, isn't it?
Of course, of course. And surprisingly, that I thought it was more, but this and The Bride of the Living Dummy, the only episodes to be made from the Goosebumps series 2000 books.
I wonder why. Maybe they would have, if the show had gone on, maybe they would have done more. I don't know, but
yeah, considering season 3 bore us so heavily from Tales to Give You Goosebumps and more Tales to Give You Goosebumps, it's odd. But to show you that we are actually here, this was actually the final episode produced. Okay, we begin seeing a man walking down the street with the sounds of a cat howling in the distance. The man arrives at the house and it's all very exorcist-y. He knocks and a young girl answers, and the man is revealed to be Dr. Mason, and he is a pet exorcist. Oh, I laughed straight away. I was like, okay, yeah, right, we're doing that. That's going to be fun.
I have to just quickly say I loved this opening. I guess I'm a massive I love parodies. I love Mel Brooks parodies of certain movies. He's done his own parody of The Exorcist and so forth. I love that stuff. So this was right up my alley.
I am a huge fan of parodies too, but the parodies from yesteryear, not the silly stuff we got in 2000 and so on, but we're talking Robin Hood Men in Tights, Blazing Saddles, stuff like that. That's my parody. Spaceballs, that shit.
Definitely.
Inside, a boy and a girl recount their story to Dr. Mason and how their cat Fluffy came back from the dead as an evil spirit. It is very silly, but I also like the little jokey nod to, of course, Pet Sematary. But it gets even sillier when he reveals a jar of catnip and faces off against a spirit. I mean, I was all in at this stage. I was like, yep, particularly following the Ghost Next Door. I was like, this is good timing for this episode. I need that refresh.
Yeah, it's a nice change of pace in terms of the tone.
And Dr. Mason is sucked into the room and the kids hear him screaming. The boy, Ryan, thinks it is over as he can't hear anything, but is then grabbed by giant cat paws that burst through the door, and the girl Alison screams with fade to black. Oh, what an effect. What a practical effect.
It's fantastic.
It's over. It's really over.
But in a very kind of reminiscent way, and I don't want to say it was inspired by it, but it kind of reminds me of Wes Craven's A New Nightmare, as we then see Ryan struggling and he rips one of the animatronic arms off, causing the director Larry to scream cut, and we reveal it's a movie. And that opening reminded me of the opening of Wes Craven's New Nightmare.
Yeah, I got that exact same thought in my mind, so you're not alone.
Yeah, and Wes Craven's New Nightmare was that 97 and 98, so it was before this.
I just think that I really like the Wes Craven's New Nightmare movie, because I think that's such a great idea, just the idea of things playing out on a set in like that realistic fashion, and it all kind of turning into like what's real and what isn't type of thing, and it all coming, like the movie itself coming to life and stuff. It's like a really cool idea. I think it should be utilized more maybe in other things.
Yeah, not Wes Craven's New Nightmare does not get enough love. Just mentioned it now. Yep. Everyone seems to be pretty stressed on set, and Alison complains to her agent about doing a movie and heads off for a bike ride to learn her lines. She gets distracted though and ends up coming off her bike and dropping her script. And she notices some fur in her bike wheel and realizes or thinks she may have hit a cat.
Can anything else go wrong today?
Thinking naturally it may have come from a nearby house, she approaches it and finds the door open. So I was like, okay, this is a decent setup. Yeah. Inside, she calls out, but no one appears to be home. She ends up being startled by a young girl named Crystal, and Alison asks about the cat. Crystal says that she has a cat called Rip, and Alison tries to apologize. Look, I did not get the joke on the name until the end. I just heard Rip. Thought, yeah, R.I.P. as in like cat claws, but they've just said it R.I.P. That is what the joke is.
I actually feel pretty stupid right now because I didn't get that until you just mentioned.
Oh!
I just thought, oh yeah, oh the claws, it rips things as a Kaz, No, but no, there you go.
Crystal says Rip isn't like any normal cat, sends Alison away and declares that she hopes she never sees the cat again. So that's our setup to a sinister Moggy. Back at the set, Larry shows Alison where they'll be shooting tonight, a pet graveyard. And again, for more Pet Cemetery things, I just want to stop here and say, Larry, I love it. That is a beautiful parody of a director if you ever see one. Constantly, darling, this, love this, sweetheart, this. Not in a weird sexual way because she's a kid, but I've got to butter you up because you're my leading lady. But at the moment her back's turned, he's like, fucking bitch. Love that.
Yeah, I thought all the performances throughout this were really enjoyable. Like I feel like they all got the memo of what they were going for here, which definitely helps.
Agreed. He then talks her through her the next scene, which would be fighting off the killer beast and poisoning it with bad tuna. I would watch this movie. That's the thing I know I would. The shit I watch, the trash I watch. This I would watch.
That's what I was thinking throughout the episode as well. Like, because I love horror comedy, so this it sounds like something I would definitely watch.
Agreed. Alison drinks some water and finds it has some cat hair in it. And thinking it was Ryan, she pours the water over his head. We should note their interactions are really strong stuff. They have good chemistry, playing off each other, clearly competitive with each other in the roles as well.
Okay. Who put cat hair in my water?
Audition. No, I'm not auditioning for him. His last movie didn't make a dime. Hey!
Very funny.
What?
Shooting resumes and Alison searches for a weapon to fight off Fluffy. However, when she opens up the cabinet with the bad tuna, she's attacked by what is a generally brilliant fucking practical effect, a furless monstrosity of a cat. It's like a half rat, half cat, big, squat, and it's a puppet, and it looks good.
Looks really good.
She screams, fall backwards, and the cabinet falls on top of her. Shooting is, of course, halted as Alison claims that Rip was in the cabinet and tells her agent and Larry about Rip. Of course, no one believes her, though, especially when the cabinet is picked up and is found to be empty. And Larry suggests, look, go get some rest. We'll shoot that scene later on. We could do something else. You go get some rest. That's all perfectly sensible stuff. Go into a dressing room. Alison hears the sound of a cat and runs into Ryan. And he is concerned and offers to give her the name of his therapist. Now I just went, yes, yes, but it didn't come from parents. It came from a brand new angle and suggests that he already is in therapy.
He's in therapy. Yeah. Also, that's two in a row. I've had child therapy mentioned 2 episodes in a row. So, wow.
Love it. Inside, she finds her dressing room wrecked and accuses Rip. And Ryan, this is where he's just such a great actor. He's like, he does not know how to handle this. It's just kind of like, really awkward and like, yeah, looking around, and she just sends him away. That's a funny scene. After cleaning up, she overhears Larry suggesting he might have to recast her part, basically, if she doesn't get her shit together. So now concerned with losing her job, she sits down, but something starts to move behind her. We see Claw rip through the blanket and attacks her, but she's able to grab it and throw her out the window. This is what I love about these latest one of Goosebumps episodes. That could have just been thrown in a corner and end off. No, throw it out the window. Throw it out the window. We'll show that happening as well because we want to have a bigger scale operation going on here. Love it.
Yeah, and again, the cat claw cutting through the blanket. We've mentioned that on Elm Street, so there's that. But I thought the effect also looked really cool, and I couldn't help but laugh because it's all done, and the whole thing's in quite a goofy fashion, the episode. But it was quite amusing because the last thing that cat expected was for her to just grab it and just throw it out the window. That's quite funny, I thought.
There is a certain level of goofiness to this. I always remember, like, one of the things I guess I always liked about Scream, the original Scream, 1996, was that obviously our villains in it take some punishment. Take some punishment. They'd get punched, knocked down, hit over the head. And it was always kind of fresh and new because he kind of used to do indestructible things. I love the idea that Rip getting fucked up that he often does in this episode is generally kind of like shocked and surprised a lot of the time. Like, as you said, out the fucking window, and he's like, the fuck just happened there? You know, like, I'm not used to that.
Definitely.
What also I'm not used to is I expected to go downstairs under the street and check under the blanket and obviously nothing being there. No. Rip claws her and runs off. You get a quick flash of it and it's done nicely. And you're like, oh, okay, so it was like, oh, I'm going to wait. Bitch is going to get it. Back in her dressing room, she cleans up a wound but notices it glow green and heal. So, all right, we've got something new now, something new. She's then called a set and puts on a brave face. On set, Larry's demanding a bigger fish as Allison arrives. And Larry starts to talk her through her part as she gets distracted. She immediately comes back, though, and she is eating. And Larry's grossed out by the fact that she's chewing on the small fish that he sent away. And when he pointed out Allison is grossed out by her actions, this is a brilliantly done scene. That, like, I was like, oh, that's really clever, really clever.
The giant cat has you cornered inside, and there's only one chance for escape. You must climb out the window, shimmy up the storm drain, and then get yourself up on the roof. You think you can do that?
No problem, Larry.
Ooh, would you like some bread with that? We'll be ready in a moment, darling.
She then goes to apologize to Ryan, who is acting like a prima donna. As they talk, she starts to clean herself like a cat, which freaks him out. That's, again, another funny scene. Allison catches herself and wonders what is happening. But filming resumes. But there's Allison making her way out of her upstairs window being pursued by Fluffy. However, the special effects go wrong and the film is halted again. So she's up high. She's now distracted by a bit of foil on a string, and she starts to try and reach for it like a cat, including doing like that sort of thing. And everyone watches in horror as she gets closer to the edge, and that's where part one ends. Fun. I'm having fun.
Yeah, I think fun sums it up. It kept me entertained throughout. I didn't feel like it really dragged. Yeah, I was always curious as to where the heck it was going because, like, it's one of those unpredictable episodes where I don't really know where this is going to end up. And yeah, quite a dramatic cliffhanger there at the end as well, which was cool.
Indeed. I will add, though, what they were starting to do with Allison disappointed me slightly. I was hoping we were just going to do this, I'm going to war with this cat, and that cat would have 9 lives. And about half through the episode, she would realize that she's killed it 5 times, and she needs to kill it another 4 or something. And that would be what the story was, about basically winding down this cat's lives. Then I remembered that I'm 37 years old at the time of recording. And just because I want to see a cat get murdered 9 times over doesn't mean that's good for kids.
That's true.
Allison, stay away from the edge, honey.
What is she doing?
Allison?
What is she doing? What is she up to?
Allison.
After the recap, we pick up seeing Allison go for the bauble like a kitty. She falls, but lands like a cat and seems to be okay as everyone gathers around her. And she's kind of getting weird now. She makes cat-like noises, which freaks everyone out. And Allison is taken away to hospital, but is revealed to be totally fine. Given a sedative to help her sleep, but as she falls asleep, she begs them not to let Rip get her. So clearly they're worrying about her mental health now. Therapy calling. Later that night, we see the shadow of Rip as it arrives out a window and claws its way inside. It approaches her on the bed as it goes to claw her face. She wakes up and hits it with a bedpan. That is the shit I'm here for. That's the Evil Dead 2-esque parody silliness that I want. Just donk, hit it with a bedpan. The noise as well. It's got that, well, so satisfying. Now, what was odd though was I was like, oh, that's really clever. She was expecting it, but then she kind of wonders if it was a dream, but then sees the clawed window, and I was like, well, which is it? She was expecting it, so attacked it, or she dreamt it and just naturally reacted.
Yeah, it's a little bit confusing.
Outside, her doctor and nurse are looking over some test results as Allison tries to sneak out. The nurse starts to sneeze as it turns out she's allergic to cats. And Allison then hears the doctor talking to the lab and suggesting that a blood tests were done on a cat and not her. So yeah, basically, if you don't know already, she appears to be turning into a cat.
I mean, we've had episodes about characters turning into dogs, so why not cats now?
That is true. That is true, of course. In fact, dogs have been touched upon more in this show than cats.
Yeah.
Allison, having left, goes to the home of Rip and calls for Crystal. She goes inside demanding to talk to the girl and finds pictures of scientists having won awards and cuttings about experiments with cats and flu. Okay. Well, science stuff. Crystal then arrives and Allison demands to know more. Crystal reveals that Rip is not a normal cat and that he's losing lives and his scratches are sucking out her life force. It looks like he only has one life left and that's why he's targeting Allison. The more life force he takes from her, the more of he gives of himself to her. And Allison realizes that she's to target Rip instead of waiting for him to come to her. And that's where I'm like, why did you make it so complicated?
Yeah, you're overcomplicating something that was simplistic to begin with, for sure.
Simple as this, revenge.
Yeah.
She ran him over with a bike, that's it. And she figures she should go to where he first died, which Crystal reveals is the pet graveyard. I'm like, what a coincidence. Isn't that useful? To be fair, though, I love the set.
Yeah.
That night, the shooting in a pet graveyard has started, but Allison's role haven't been recast, and the new girl is hilariously awful. Generally, she's only got a small part in this episode, but she might steal the entire show because she's an actor playing a role, acting terrible in that role. That is very difficult to do, but very, very funny.
But what happens if he comes back before we, well, before we can...
You mean before we can find his grave?
Yeah, before we can find his... Ooh!
Cut!
That's the cut!
Enough with the smoke.
So bad as she that shooting is stopped. And Larry annoys Ryan by forgetting Allison's name as they move to the next scene. Larry deciding, look, Fluffy's grave has to be moved and wants it in the exact spot that turns out to be Rip's grave. So Rip's headstone is moved and replaced with Fluffy as Allison comes along and demands that the film be stopped. Oh, of course. Larry mocks her and everyone laughs at her claim about Rip and she's taken off the set, having clearly been fired. So Ryan and the new girl start to dig up the bones of Fluffy and her over-the-top acting here is so funny. They find the remains and open the box, finding it empty. And Larry is mad that there are no bones, but it is revealed to be an actual coffin and not the film's coffin as they move the gravestone. And I was kind of like, yeah, duh, Larry, what did you think was going to fucking happen? You know you were shooting in a real graveyard, you moved the headstone, you moved the headstones, but you didn't move the bodies, Larry. You didn't move the bodies. And it is kind of funny and really dark that they just had their child actors dig up a literal grave.
Yeah. What are you thinking?
And things start to get weird as the entire sets begin to shake ominously now. When it ends, Allison declares that it was Rip. But as Ryan starts to leave the set, explosions start to occur. I was like, what the fuck is this? Larry, seeing an opportunity, demands they keep shooting. And we see the image of Rip in the sky as Allison and Ryan run off down the road. And I am all in on the nonsense. Like, fuck it, let's go for it, right?
You got to be at this point. And also, there's a small detail I noticed when the explosion goes off. It's quite amusing. I don't know if it was left in intentionally or not, but Ryan has like a really delayed reaction to the explosion hitting him. Like, it explodes and then he like dives for cover, like quite delayed. So That was quite funny, I thought.
Come on!
And Wader says, "I believe it was." E.g., he wasn't told he wasn't told an explosion was due, but when it happens, his mind automatically went, "Oh, it must be part of the special effects. I have to do this."
Oh my
There's
God,
no
yeah.
way it was a mistake. Not the way the episode is or the actors. There's no way.
That'd be a great detail for sure.
They arrive at Crystal's house as she pulls them inside. She takes them to her mother, and it's revealed that Crystal's mother is a human-cat hybrid.
Mm.
And it's a good look. It's a good makeup job.
Yeah, I thought the cat lady makeup looked really great, and again, quite horrific for a kids show with her like one massive eye, and yeah.
You might say we're old friends.
Oh, no.
They're here for you, Rip.
No! You ran over him, Allison. You owe him.
But it's also revealed that they're working with Rip as the evil cat arrives. Crystal's mother reveals that her experiments were to cure the flu by using cats, and it failed, turning Rip into a monster, barely even a cat. And I was like, yeah, what a shock that experiments on flu, an ever-evolving virus in humans, did not work on experiments in cats. What? Wow, you are a brilliant scientist. Crystal's mother gave her life force over to Rip in return for Crystal's life. She then offers Ryan and Allison to Rip and leaves, but not without an apology. Stuck in the basement/laboratory, they try to find a way out. Ryan makes an offhand comment about mice, and Allison seems to remember something. She gets Ryan to distract Rip as Allison pours the contents of a vial with the mouse she picked up earlier in her trashed dressing room. It's a wind-up mouse, and Rip chases it, giving Allison and Ryan a chance to escape up the stairs. However, Ryan falls on the stairs and is scratched by Rip. However, the chemicals start to react as Rip ate the mouse. Now, I was kind of like, God, this is a dumb ending. It's all those sort of silly conveniences. It's uninteresting and all that. However, they brought me slightly back by blowing up Rip. That's it. Do shit like that and you'll make me go, great.
They got you with the explosions, Michael Bay style.
Yeah. Basically, Transformers suck, but give me fucking explosions. Yeah, I'll take it.
He's gonna blow.
Ryan's leg looks to be fine, and Allison reopens the door to be sure Rip is dead. She finds it gone and a mouse unharmed. We then see it must be over as Allison's mother has returned to human form and she thanks Ryan and Allison. And I'm generally annoyed by this ending because Ryan and Allison's response should have been like, fuck you, lady. You just tried to kill us. Get in the bin and walk out.
Should be.
Instead, we cut to them sometime after as they're watching what happened on TV. And this is where I think the episode might get too meta. Because I'm like, wait, how can that have been filmed? Like, how was that filmed? So I started to think, was this a film within a film? You know?
Yeah, I don't know if it's supposed to confuse you or something, but it is a little confusing. I think, like you said, they maybe went a little bit too far in the meta idea.
Ryan and Allison go to get some more popcorn and drinks, and Allison complains about the lack of a twist ending.
Ooh.
And you know what? You brought me back again, Goosebumps, with this generally on the nose. Purposely, she should have turned to the camera and fucking winked at us because that's how on the nose it is. But I'm all in for it because I'm like, that's fucking, yep, absolutely, because that's what we get.
Yeah, no, I absolutely love it because we're always talking about the Goosebumps twist endings every episode and how some of them are just so ludicrous, and the fact that they're completely self-aware of that, like they know, even if it's sort of like a wink towards R.L. Stine himself about how, oh, you love to put your little twists to the end of your books and stuff like that. Yeah, it's fun.
And just to add even more to it, they didn't give us a twist ending. As Ryan picks up a mouse, agrees with her, and eats it. And if this had been a theater, that's an up and down all the way through. I'd have probably stood up and been like, "Yeah, all right, well done for that ending."
You'd be the only person doing that while everyone else is like disgruntled walking out.
We tell people I have watched 60 odd episodes of this show. Any little thing that wins me over, the fact that people would have been wondering why I'm standing here cheering and punching the air when therapy gets mentioned would have been,
Yeah, I mean, it is super, like, it's super meta for even us because we're discussing the episodes, reviewing them, always talking about the twists, and then they do it right. It's almost like they're talking to us directly. Yeah.
You know, the only thing I didn't like about that movie, it didn't have a twist ending. I hate that.
Yeah, me too. I love a good twist ending.
It is up and down, folks. There are a lot of things to enjoy in this, whether it be more similar to How I Got My Shrunken Head, locations all over the place, the set designs, the effects being all practical. I can't even picture any particular CGI effects in this. Maybe Rip in the Sky, that thing about it, the cast, the acting, the character chemistry, even from some of the minor ones. There's a lot of people we didn't mention here that really do well, whether it be Alison's agent is quite funny in this as well. The special effects guy has some good lines as well here and there. The idea of Rip in itself and general story is decent. The problem is I do think it runs out of steam here and there. It maybe could have been one episode and been a lot faster and a lot more fun.
Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned that piece of at the end there, because I thought the second part was quite boring and slow up until the explosion happens, which is right near the end of the episode, which is disappointing because I thought the first episode flowed so well and it kept you like hooked and entertained, whereas the second part is just a lot of like meandering and talking and where's Rip and what's happening to Alison and things like that. And but yeah, like you said, some really cool effects for a kids horror show. Rip the cat, I thought, like you said, the puppetry there, the practical effects is really, really well done. The ending, the self-aware ending with the twist, that's so much fun. And so on the whole, I think it's a fun two-parter. It once again pushes certain boundaries, and it works really well as a nice sort of throwback to cheesy B-movie horror, which is always fun. And I was entertained throughout, I would say, but other than a few slow moments which do drag it down.
I was really quite pleased how season 4 was going. It's strange that we would get such an array of ideas and strong work 3 episodes into a 4-episode run. It almost feels like, shit, man, you're on such a high. If you've been keeping this going, who knows what else we would have got. It is Cry of the Cat. Have you got any thoughts on it? You know what to do. Let us know in the comments.
Thank you very much for watching. If you liked what you saw, please help us out by giving us a thumbs up and hitting that subscribe button. If you really liked what you saw, consider donating to keep the website and channel running by buying us a coffee via our coffee page or picking up some merch from our Big Cartel store. You can check us out on gbhbl.com as well as via our social media, Facebook, Instagram and Twitter, as well as listen to our interviews via SoundCloud, Apple Music and Spotify. Just search for GBHBL. Games, horror and heavy metal. What else is life for?